Welcome to the 2010 Fusion Podcast, presented to you by the Oregon Ministry Network. Fusion took place November 4th through 6th at People's Church in Salem. The following workshop, entitled Creating an Exciting Environment in Children's Ministry, was led by Harvey Walls.
I'm hoping today to help us to look at everything with fresh eyes. And that's the first couple of blanks on your paper there. Fresh eyes. And I know that sometimes we get in our areas, we get comfortable, and we kind of forget what we first saw. And so we're going to go over a couple of things. I want to hit some things real hard and fast, just to build some foundation, I guess. And to make sure that we're thinking about everything. I mean, this is to change a children's environment or to work on making it better. There's a lot of things to consider. And so I just want to kind of give you a checklist of things to go through. When you're looking at doing a certain area, you want to make sure that you hit these things. And so the first thing is to look at everything with fresh eyes. And if that means sometimes get down on your knees and go into an area, that's a way to get a child's perspective on things. And you'll notice how high your signs are, if they can be read from down where you're at, if things are out of reach. I keep wrestling with I wrestled with the custodians for about a year trying to get our garbage can to be over here instead of over here, because they had it directly underneath the paper towel dispenser. And the kids couldn't reach over the top of this tall paper towel dispenser with a big dome thing on top and try to get the paper towels. So it'd be a whole lot easier for them and faster if it was over here so they can get to it. And so, but things like that, just keep watching and get their perspective. Watch what they're doing. Can they reach certain things? But we want to make our children's environment exciting, but we want to make it fun. We want to make it safe. We want to make it kid-friendly, that in a lot of different ways that they relate to, that works well for them, sparks their interest, and we want to enhance the child's creativity. When their minds are spinning, the wheels are going, they're taking more things in. They're going to learn more. The message is the most important thing. And so we do all these things so that they're more open to receive the message. The main focus is an invitation to Christ. And if we can get them engaged in what we're talking about, then they're going to make that response. And we want to stimulate all five senses in the process. The sight. And that's probably the biggest one. Everyone thinks about that. A lot of people say they're visual learners. They need to see things. They need to see charts, pictures, graphs, things like that. That would be me. Some are audio learners, so it's the sound, just the hearing a voice. They click, they're able to follow. And so we want to make sure that we're stimulating the sound, and it's not obnoxious sound, but it's a familiar sound. It's a pleasing sound. The same thing with the visual. We want to make sure it's pleasing and not chaotic, and because chaos breeds distraction. I mean, we lose them when there's stuff going on all over the place. You can call it overstimulation or whatever, but if we painted illusion stripes or mores where things start blending and doing weird things, and they're going to be doing that. Strobe light going on constantly could be a distraction, and so we don't want to overdo it, but at the same time we want to have fun with it and pique their interest. Touch, another important thing that we sometimes forget when we're creating our lessons, is sometimes a kid needs to touch and feel and do the thing, and textures can stimulate and wake them up. If everything's the same texture, if everything's smooth and glossy, then they're going to lose interest in that. But if there's some variation of texture, that could pique their interest as well. And then smell. another area that we sometimes don't, we overlook. How do your restrooms smell when you walk past them? Because smell also is connected to our memory. You've heard that before, that there's certain smells trigger certain memories. So we don't want our kids driving past the dairy, Rick Riel Dairy, driving past there and going, oh, that reminds me of my old church. Walking down that one hall. So just keep that in consideration. And how about just the musty smell of an old church? I walk into Grandma's house and I go, that smells like my church. So we want to take everything into consideration. And sometimes, you'll notice it when you first walk into a church and you say, ooh, that needs to be corrected. And then sometimes once we've been there for a while, it becomes, well, it's not that bad. And we forget that those are the first impressions. And well, let me go. The next one is taste. And that's another one that you probably can't do as a physical environment, but it's something to consider in your lesson planning, that occasionally that we can use all 5 senses to help stimulate them. But when we're talking about coming into a new space, and I've had the opportunity to do it a few times, coming into a new building, new church, and checklist. Oh, I noticed when I first came in, tripped over the carpet right there, I noticed this big dent in the wall. What happened here? Looked like somebody was wrestling and poked a hole in the wall. And different things like that door sticks, whatever. And when you first go through it, those things are distracting. When have you ever visited church and seen certain things and you go, I'm not sure what they were thinking there, but, that's kind of distracting, whatever that, peeling paint or whatever. And, but then when we've been there for a while, if it doesn't get off your checklist, it's still one of those things to do. You start living with it. No, it's not that bad. We're working on these other things. And, but with that first impression, the statistic changes a little bit, but the first 7 or 11 minutes, a person walks into a church, they're going to make a decision whether or not they're going to return again. And so when you walk in, we want that impression to be a good one. And one where they're not distracted by dumb stuff that can be easily taken care of. And so we need to go above and beyond, do our due diligence, and make sure that we take care of all those other little things that take away from the message. And don't try to do it all yourself. You got people in the church that are looking for things to do. And but we can get them done. So I want to go over quickly some of those physical environments that we're looking to enhance in children's ministry. And we're not going to start with kids' church room because that's too obvious, but the parking lot. Is your parking lot show that you're a kid-friendly church? Is when you first drive up, are you driving to a place where mom's got to get a stroller out and she's got to drag it through rough terrain in order to get it to the kids' area? Some churches are marking parking areas near the children's area as family parking and making it a little easier for them to get to the check-in place or those kinds of things. So be thinking about that first thought, from the outside, coming in. Maybe even go with a family when you're sitting waiting for things to start in the church morning and you see a family coming in the parking lot, go out to them, help them get their babies out of their car and walk with them. I mean, it's been a while since I've walked my babies into church or my toddlers into the check-in area, but walk with them and go through the whole step. It's amazing what you notice when you have a guest with you. With the old timers, oh yeah, you know about that. But when you got a guest there and you see certain things and you're going, ooh, I hope they're not offended by that, or hope they aren't too distracted by that. So you'll see it when you bring a visitor in. So be thinking about just trying that every once in a while. And then the entryway. You're walking in, coming into the church, and what do you see that tells you where the children's area is? Is it going to be tricky to find? If it's tricky to find like this church, you need pointers, you need people, you need signage that's going to help you get to that area. And then the hallways, let's not neglect that. There's lots of things that you can do to enhance the children's area in your hallways. I'll show you a couple examples later. Sunday school classrooms, kids' church rooms, and the nursery. Is your nursery appropriate for that age? Is it done in soft, pleasing colors and those kinds of things? So those are the areas that we're talking about. Now, making this all kid-friendly. What are some things to consider when we're looking at these physical areas that we want to enhance? Space considerations is a big one. If you're planning on doing something with a certain area, is it going to be big enough? Is it overkill? Is it the best use of your space? When you're considering, if you have the privilege of being able to be a part of a building project where you're planning these things out, what do they call themselves? Those that govern preschools and things say 35 square feet per child. That's about a 5 by 7 area for preschoolers, for toddlers. And most say it would be more than that, more like 42 to 50. Even older studies have said the same thing, but somehow or another they got the 35 as a minimum, and people kind of stick to that because we get more rooms if we do it that big. But toddlers, because they're learning how to share and learning how to play together, they don't always play well together if they're too close together. So if we can spread them out, that's why the space requirements for that age. So that's something to consider. Is the room big enough? You could have your older kids sitting in chairs and use less room than your toddlers who need the space to move around. And multi-purpose is another consideration. If you're using a room that's going to be used with the youth group, this one's used with junior high now, I hear. And I was fortunate enough not to have to share that. But there's some things to do when you're considering that, things that are left out, things that are used for decorations and things like that may not be appropriate for junior high and kids ministry, so you want to be able to switch those things out. But you also, if you want to keep them for a long time, you got to make sure that they are kept safe and those kinds of things too. So those are considerations too you have to take. I've done some things where rooms are used for rangers, or in our kids' church area, we also use it for the ranger room. And I put all my posters on foam board and put little nails in the wall and holes in my foam board, and I just slide them on there. I've got 4 that go up, and I take them all down for kids' church, and it's not as Royal Ranger room during kids' church time, but rangers know when they walk in, it's different. This is our room now. It's got the flags out. It's got the posters on the wall. And so it makes it a little bit different, so they're not feeling like, well, we get stuck in the same room we're always in. It changes it a little bit. So there's some things you can do with switching things up. In Dallas, we did a lot of stuff with curtains, hanging curtains on rods, that kind of thing, and then doing posters over the top of that, and they could be changed out for the junior high ministry and weddings. They disappear. So that's the tricky part using a multi-purpose room is, everybody else wants to use it, and you got to get everything out, make sure everything's mobile and not as attached. But you know what? Hooks work great for getting things where you want them and taking them down again. Another thing to consider in that space is it clutter-free? Are you using that space for storage, or is there somewhere else that would be better for all your storage, and rather than having boxes of stuff in the back of the room? And sometimes we get used to seeing those things there, and it doesn't bother us anymore. But when the kid walks in, he sees that we're storing stuff in there, and moms and dads are wondering, are you guys moving or what's going on? So think about your storage spaces too. And then maintenance is the next step under kid-friendly. Is it safe? Is there some maintenance that needs to be done to keep it looking good, but also keep it safe? Do you have sharp corners on your tables in your toddler rooms? Are your chairs bending and have rough metal burrs sticking out. The plastic ones that pinch. Sometimes we just end up hanging on, oh, I'm sorry that happened, and then we just leave the chair there and it happens to somebody else. So those are some things that we can avoid by either getting them fixed or getting them out of there. I got in the habit of throwing away metal chairs because no one else seems to want to. But when they bend and you sit sideways in them, no one wants to sit in it anyway, and they end up moving another chair, and we just keep it in the stack, and it doesn't do anybody any good except for we have more chairs. But, they're not that sacred that you can't throw them away. And you know what? It might mean you get new chairs sooner if, all the metal chairs seem to be disappearing or falling apart. But they don't know they're falling apart unless somebody throws them away. We have plastic ones at the church we're at now that we've got a lot of them. And they're plastic, but they have metal legs, but they're really thin metal, and they stretch. And so they're not broken. They're not really bent, but they just stretched and wore out. So where you sit in them, you sit way low. It feels like you're going to fall on the floor. And you can rock in the thing, and it's just scary. Adults don't like them because they're scary. Teens like them because they can rock in them and bend way back, but we're just having a hard time getting them to break so we can get new ones. So they've been around since the late 60s. So the maintenance around the lights, are your lights, do you have all the light bulbs in? That's one thing that sometimes we forget about and get used to. Well, that one's been out for a while, and I think that one's out, huh? But or you got the flickering one. Okay, that's obnoxious and distracting, and sometimes we just live with it. But if we can stay on those things, come up with a system where you can write down, a list of things for a group of your prime timers or whoever to look at. Can you take care of these things during the week? And they're looking for projects, but they don't know unless somebody tells them. Your curtains and shades, are they just there because they've always been there? Are they doing the job, or are they obnoxious and bent up and looking shabbier because they're there? It may be better to take them down completely if it's bringing the whole look down by having tore up blinds. And another thing to consider in maintenance is how easy does it clean up? If you're designing a new area, you want to make sure that it cleans easy. And that includes your paint on the walls, that includes things that you're bringing in. Can you get around it to clean it up? And then another thing to consider is the lighting. If you have a well-lit room, is the mood the right mood that you want to create for that room? Another thing to consider would be, are you able to turn the lights down a little bit lower if they're like a kid's church room? Just by using switches, using less light in that room to bring it down, or adding some more lights so you can turn down the house lights and just have some other lighting to keep it lit during prayer times and things like that. And then color. Do you have some exciting things happening in color? Are you using the colors that you're using? Are they current colors? I mean, we know there's some colors that get outdated, and if you've got mauve and teal in your room, you're looking kind of 80s, and maybe need to bump that up a little bit. But and if you don't have an eye for it, get somebody who does. Ask them, do we look old-fashioned? Do we look old? And they'll be able to help you out and get you on the right track. Look for the peeling paint, just falling apart. Yeah, a hint in using paint, especially in maintenance, is you want to use a gloss, a semi-gloss or a high gloss paint, because it cleans up easy. If you use flat or eggshell, it's a lot harder to clean. It may be good on a stage because light doesn't reflect off of it, but that's about the only time you would want to use it, because it just looks bad after a little while. Our church was all done, the new church that we're in. Paint's only a year and a half, 2 years old, and but they used a flat paint, and I don't know why. I think they wanted the Starbucks colors and the, earth tones, but no, my problem is trying to keep it clean and keep it looking good. But I have a request for the next time we paint to make sure we get some kind of gloss on there so we can keep it looking good for a long time. And it just looks fresher too with a gloss. The furniture that you use in your rooms, are they kid friendly? Again, we talked about the broken chairs and the pinching chairs. You want to get rid of that. But the right height and adjustable tables are a great option. And I haven't been here in a while, it looks like, because the tables are set kind of high for that age group in those chairs. If you're using the tall chairs, you can still bring the table down to their height, so they're not doing this. Everyone hates to sit at a table where you have to do this, and so you can bring it down to where it's more comfortable with them. In choosing chairs, you can get chairs in all different heights, from 10 inches to the 18 inches. And like in here, where we've got a wide variety of kids, we kind of picked a middle-of-the-road chair. And these are 16, and so the little guys, their feet are still dangling. And what happens there is they get uncomfortable because their feet don't touch the ground and cuts off the circulation, so they do the wiggle thing. So it's better to have them in the shorter chairs. Although we did have some 12-inch chairs that we used for the front row and kind of did the kindergarten, first grader guys up there. But I find the older boys wanted to sit up there too. So I think if I were to do it again, and maybe you guys have a different opinion, I think I would go with a 14-inch, go a little bit lower, hit a wider variety, because if adults okay with that, I think a sixth grader would be okay with a little bit lower. So I think it hit more kids that way. But at the same time, we don't want to lose the fifth and sixth graders because they feel like they're sitting in kid chairs. So we don't want to make it too noticeable to them that it's a smaller chair. And also consider rounded corners and that kind of thing. We got sharp edges in the toddler room, in your shelving and things like that. Anything we can do to keep them safe and from making issues with mom because something happened to their darling child in your care. We want to take care of those things before they happen. Restrooms, another thing to consider, the right height for everything. Do you have the soap dispenser where they can get to? Can they get to the paper towel? How hard is the faucet? We had to change some faucets in here that have been here for years because they were just too hard. The boys weren't washing their hands because it was too hard to manipulate the two things. And so we put in an easy single, I don't know what you call those things. Single handle faucet, yeah. So made their life easier. Their hands are getting washed. Stools, if you need them, make sure you got a stool that's easily cleaned because they're going to get dirty. Wood doesn't work very good because it absorbs whatever hits it. But a plastic stool with rubber feet so it doesn't slide around. So keep the safety in mind, but at the same time get them up to the right height. And does the toilet paper come off the roll right? Everyone hates it when you get in a bathroom and you can't get toilet paper off it, And what's the kid going to do? If you can't figure it out, that's good enough. And he's out of there. So we want to make it, and I think part of it too, going the extra mile for these guys, for these kinds of things, is there's an embarrassment factor that hits. They're too embarrassed to ask anybody for help or to say anything about it, so they'll just live with whatever's there. Then they'll be embarrassed the whole time they're with us because they knew that, something didn't go right. I wasn't able to wash my hands, wasn't able to wipe myself right because I couldn't get toilet paper off the roll, or the next one didn't come down when it was supposed to, or it was wrapped up in that paper thing. And so then they're embarrassed. They're not listening because, their mind's on other things. So anything we do to alleviate any of that other stuff, make their life easy. Just make it so that they're getting the message. That's the main thing. and locks. We discovered shortly after I got to this new church, we have a single bathrooms, guys and girls, no windows, but it locks from the inside, the main door, and there was no key for the outside door ever to get in. So a child could go in there, lock the door, and not come out. And luckily, the first time they discovered that was with a 16-year-old girl with Down syndrome, and she wanted to be locked in there, but it was quite a while before they were able to get her out because they had to coax her out and everything, and no one could get in there. So we had a key made shortly after that. But those are other safety issues. Locking the doors in the stalls, can that be done on the inside and outside? Or can they lock themselves in and leave the door locked and crawl underneath? Everyone hates it when that happens. So then other things to consider. Stuff that you do. If you're doing like a children's church room, what activities do you do that you need to make sure that you allow for in your area? What kind of activities are you doing? What kind of lessons are you doing? Are you doing fire? You want to make sure that you don't have the smoke detector right over your area if that's what you're doing. The worship that you do. Do you have space for that? Large group, small group? Are you able to facilitate both? Or is there, you can go to another place to do the small group thing? And the characters and costumes, puppets. I always have to have a dry erase board close by. And so I made sure that was part of my thing. And then the puppets. We do a few of that. We don't do a huge thing, so we don't have to have the 2-layer tiered thing. So that worked great. But occasionally we want to disappear, go out the side, or go behind and come in as somebody else. And so I allow for some of that kind of stuff where you can, go in one door and come out game guy or, whatever, Professor Smarticus or those guys. So gives you some options too. So think about what you want to do with the space and how you want to get that accomplished. So those are things to consider when you're getting ready for it. Now for some nitty-gritty stuff. Picking a theme. Some of you guys already got your themes. You've already been thinking about it, and you're there already. Some of you may be thinking, now, we've got a blank slate. What do I do with it? And one thing that I've done in the past is consider the church name, and, because your ministry is supporting the total church. You're not a separate entity. You want to make sure that it's cohesive. It works together. Right now, River Life Assembly and Hood River are the Wave Maker kids. That just kind of fits with the river thing. And the youth group, I think, is going to go to Extreme Kids, or Extreme Youth, whatever they are. But doing the water thing. And we got windsurfing and the water sports that happen there. So the kite, I think they're going to do a kite thing. We're doing kind of a windsurfing thing. So we're doing, that was the name that I picked. What I did to get to that name was I went online, though, and looked at other River of Life churches. Just Googled River of Life. And tons of churches. Some we got and not. And just looked at what they were calling their groups. And some names, River Kids and what's that?
Riverettes.
Riverettes. No. There was some of them weren't related at all to the name of the church. They just picked Action Kids or whatever, Kids Church Ministry or whatever. But some of them, I was looking for something that would tie in better to the river. And actually, I couldn't find another church ministry called Wave Makers until recently in Australia. But but I liked it before, so I just People's Church in Powerhouse. I brought it from another church, and it made it easy because I had all my paperwork from another church that was previously called Powerhouse when I got there, and it was a great name, and I just kept using it and developed a logo for it and stuff, and then came here, and we changed the name to the same, to Powerhouse, People's Church Powerhouse Kids, and then using the stuff that kind of represents that powerhouse and get our power from God and that kind of thing. So, but look at what other people are doing. Look at, if you do a Google image search, you'll get all their logos and things like that. And if they got a cool logo, click on their website and find out what maybe they have pictures of the room, or give you some more information, give you some ideas for other groups, or besides your kids church name or your ministry name, they may have kids church name, they may have a Sunday school name, they may have other things. That's pretty, Brian.
Oh, that is yours. It's very pretty.
That was a very kid-friendly, pleasant sound, wasn't it? Kid. So, to come up with a theme, ask around what other people are doing. And I think anybody in here would be okay with somebody else using their name, their children's ministry name. It's not like they're sacred, but, here's what I'm using. Go for it. Yeah, here's the name I'm using. Harvey. And then you also use the website. It's an amazing thing for getting inspiration too. Visit churches, visit their websites, be inspired by what other people are doing. Some things will click with you. And if it excites you, it'll excite the kids. If you're, this is okay, this is good enough, the kids will get that from you, and it'll never go any further than that. But if you're excited about your space and what you're doing, kids will get excited too. So find something that you really get into. Though be careful not to get too gender specific. If you're doing NASCAR kids area, that might not appeal to everybody in your children's ministry. So, or Hello Kitty. But great themes for bathrooms, though. If you're doing your restrooms, Hello Kitty is perfect for the ladies' room, and NASCAR would be great for the guys' room. So picking colors and materials, when you're picking your theme, what does your theme sound like? When I say wave makers, what colors come to mind? What's the obvious? Blue. Okay, so blue and green. And powerhouse, what does power sound like? Red, orange, yellow. Okay, so we include some of that. And I don't think we have you might have seen the logo when you came in. Oh, there it is. It's in the reds and yellows, with a little hint of purple. I use the purple because the church uses purple in their logo, purple and yellow, and all that stuff. So I used the red and yellow and dropped in a little purple, and occasionally put in purple and wish we had purple carpet or something. But sometimes you do with what you got until it all gets changed. So picking your colors. You guys heard of color themes or swatches? You can go to the store and figure out, like 3 colors that go together. You can get in the paint section, they have all those paper things. You can find, besides the ones that have all the different shades that are close together, they have other swatches that have like 3 colors that are close together, or not close together, but colors that go together, that work together. They'll have a dark color, it'll have a medium color, and an accent color. So that's another area you can go and pull out something you like. And once you get those things in mind, then you can start shopping and get the other stuff to go with it. And another great place to look for that kind of stuff is Target. Has a children's, what would you call it, home decorating area. It's got the shelves and it's got bedding stuff, but it's also got the light switch frame, light switch plate, decorated certain things. The boys have a sports thing, so it's got all different sports. It's got coat racks that have sports stuff on it. It's got border that you could use, and that would be more gender specific. It'd be great for the bathroom is to use that kind of stuff. Neighborhood church in Tualatin has the guys and girls bathroom that are decorated. Girls has pink, wavy on the bottom, and yellow on top. And then it has those stenciled words, princess and dreamer and stuff like that on it. And it has little princess trinket things sitting on the countertops, the parish shoe and that kind of stuff. Girls know. Guys is dark blue and a gray, and its border is those little wooden car shapes you get from dollar store, from Joann's or Michael's. The little flat wooden things, hand painted with cars and trucks. And so they've got this border that runs around. I think it's a checkered border, and then it's got these cars glued to the wall. And then it's got like a shadow box with a couple of cars and trucks in it. And very nice little restrooms. And you walk into it and you go, this is the guy's bathroom. And somebody obviously cared about me to make it this nice. You know?
You can do that in the adult bathrooms.
Yeah.
I walked into this place that had snap-on toolboxes.
Cool.
Indie cars and all that stuff.
Recliner.
Makes you feel like a man when you go to the restroom, huh? So, yeah, our ladies' restroom, that's one of the first places the ladies like to take new people into our church because they did a great job with the ladies' restroom, and it's decorated real nice, and it's got tables. And yeah, come look at this. It's awesome. So they're just proud of that, so they like for people to check it out. And they do the little display things with things that you might need, you know. In Hood River, hairspray and bobby pins and things like that. So fix your hair after you walk in. So, but things that obviously let you know that somebody cares about you when you walk in. So I think we want our kids to know that we care about them too. You know, and it's okay to experiment with putting things up where you think, I'm not sure they'll probably get tore down. But you know what? You don't know unless you try it. And yeah, I didn't think those shelves would last either with the trophies up there, but they're still there, so no one's hung on them yet. Materials, other materials that you want to use besides the paint thing, but like Michael's has the trinket kind of things that you could paint and glue on, and but some of the stuff I used around here was stuff I found, that I needed to call an electrician about, and got lucky and came up with one of those, because I found out the electric company owns those. And but every once in a while there's a few that could be owned by owner, and there's a sticker on it and stuff. So anyway, I got that from an electrician, and PVC pipe, dollar store water tubes. That's what that is. It was glued on there. It looks like somebody sat on it. Junior high are using it now, so I'm not sure what will happen. And it's just odds and ends stuff. The American barricade thing, I've hauled that around with me for a couple of years and left it here. But somebody brought it to our house one time, and I called American Barricade and said, I don't know whose this is. It showed up in our yard. And they said, well, other companies buy them, so we don't know if it's ours or not. So I got to keep it. And then a $3 battery makes the light flash. So just all kinds of interesting places to find things and change them for your, our wooden barrel's been sitting here at the church for a while, I heard, but it wasn't yellow. So why is it not yellow? It needs to be yellow. So we painted it yellow.
Do the kids put their offering into the TNT barrel? Because it looks like a buddy barrel.
Yes, they have on occasion, but normally we do. I also have. You'll see a picture of it later. We have a big buddy barrel scale, and usually they want to do the contest thing. So he ends up getting used for that most of the time. And getting it done. How do you get all this work done? Make sure that you plan out your schedule the way that can get it done without it looking like it's always in process. The hallway was a tricky thing because I can't spend all my time down there painting because we have other responsibilities. Yeah. Well, I drew it, put it on the wall, and then I had some people do the solid colors, and then I had two others that learned how to do the black. And my daughter's real good, so she's trained now to help me with the outlining stuff. But so I only had to do the tricky part. But there are people in your church that are capable. And if you get somebody, what's that?
Just there are people in the phone book that are capable.
There are. They cost a little bit more, but if you got volunteers to do it, and I'll show you another church that did it using a coloring book. And yes, they used coloring book and did a overhead projector put on the wall. And they had one person who was in between work and he had like 2 months off before he started his new job, and he was some kind of a manager, big business manager, and he managed a group of people to paint the church. They just moved in a new building, and they had an artist that would do the layout, but he managed getting people to fill in all the colors, and then all she had to do was kind of supervise the whole thing. But you would need to work around, the schedule in your church. Find a good season. Maybe you don't want to start the project right before Christmas, but as soon as Christmas hits, you want to do the Christmas break. That might be a good time. Or another time when things are a little bit slower, you can tear things down to build them back up again. And then people also get excited to see the stuff going up. The wall, we started out with the green and the blue, and started out with it. First, the elephant. First thing you see when you walk in that hall, you turn that corner, they'll see the elephant. Even if they don't go down the hall, they'll see it as they go by. So that was the first thing I put up there. And then I went down to the other end, did another animal, and then I did the middle, and then went back and forth until we kind of filled out what's there. And there's still scheduled to be a couple more animals to go up on the wall. And then we'll do the fur and the tactical stuff later. But so it's constantly growing. And there's flowers, and there's more birds and that kind of stuff. So it could be really huge over time. But unless somebody has the time to really do that, that's their thing. Children's pastor doesn't always have time to do all that stuff, so I kind of squeeze it in between. Make sure you don't bite off more than you can chew, or make it too detailed, if you're doing it yourself, especially. I did one in Seattle where it had a lot of shading, and it took a lot longer than anticipated, and so I only got half as many characters on the wall as I really wanted to. They think it's done, but I know that it could have been a lot better. So pick an area and get started. I'd really start out with the maintenance and cleaning and those kinds of things first. Make sure that you've got the spaces the best that they can look right now before you start putting stuff on the wall, before you start changing things. Painting murals, some nitty-gritty. Oh, I didn't bring that up. Frank, your airplane thing downstairs in the exchange, the one that you guys used?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't use it.
You didn't use it?
No.
But you bought it.
We're heading in a different direction. So
Okay. Well,
anybody can grab it.
he bought something for his Air Force theme. It's airplane, tarmac, jets, stuff like that. And a company called, on the back of your, oh, I made a mistake. You don't have a back, do you? I will have to put it on the ministry website. I have a list of some resources here. And one of them was Creative for Kids. And it's a low-cost, do-it-yourself theme decorating. They'll come in and do your church, and they'll do a great job with vinyl things on the wall and things that stick out. Kind of the whole Rainforest Cafe, Disneyland kind of thing. They can do that much, but they also have this do-it-yourself where they have videos and they have instructions on how to paint by number and use their characters. And they have whole themes. They have park themes, they have jungle themes, they have Bible themes, they have airplane themes. And he has an example of that downstairs in the exchange thing. And you'll see that it's got the overhead slides or transparencies. It's got instructions. It's got the color thing that tells you how to paint the colors. It tells you what kind of paints to use. They use the acrylic folk art you get at Walmart. That works real well. It spreads on a lot easier than I anticipated. I've used a lot of house paint stuff because I had it available, but the black is the most important thing. If you're using black outline, and I bought a really expensive lettering paint for that, And it just goes on really easy and makes it go a lot faster than having to stroke and stroke and stroke and try to fill in the black because it's, left a little gray in it. So know that you can do that yourself. They will also work with you in an in-between stage where you pick your theme, they'll draw it up for you, and then they'll tell you what to paint before they get there. And so you'll do the sky and the ground and the rocks and a couple of things like that, solids. Then they'll come in with airbrush and make it look really, really fancy. And but there's a cost to that too. But but great place to get ideas too. Going through those type websites. So that's creativeforkids.com. Wackyworld.tv. That's Bruce Berry. He's the one who did the Rainforest Cafe. And he did a church in Florida about 5 years ago or more, and got saved doing the church down there. And they spent big bucks to do a beautiful kids' church area. They've got a well whose tongue is a slide. That's the entrance to toddler. So, but those are, for you to one day have a budget like that. But there's variations of those kinds of things too. You've got a tree in your nursery that the kids walk through, the trunk of it, to get to their class. And that's just lumber with, you guys use foam, the spray foam? You can use that spray foam stuff, insulation, and it makes it really naughty looking and real natural. And then your Michael's fake leaves, hanging down, and give it a whole atmosphere. What's the name of the nursery?
The nursery area? But the infant side is a garden, and the toddler side is a treehouse.
Okay. So we got a garden and treehouse. Then some other places Kids TV. If you're watching Nickelodeon, those kinds of things, there's ideas for reproducing some of their stuff to make it exciting. The slime machines of Nickelodeon and that kind of thing. Children's Ministry Magazine. If you guys are familiar with that, it's something I get every other month, and it's got ideas from other people's churches to borrow and put to use. There's places that do lettering, vinyl lettering, that is a whole lot faster and easier, and probably see it time-wise and money-wise, you're better off doing the vinyl letters. They have certain fonts, and you can have them certain sizes. We did some lettering for a coffee shop and for the missions thing in the main part of the church. I haven't used it for kids ministry yet, but that's another option. Uppercase Living is the name of that website that does vinyl lettering. You can do a whole scripture verses, or your mission statement. You want everybody to see it. That would be one way to do it. Children's hospitals is another good place to look for ideas. They have a lot of interactive stuff, like children's museum stuff, where not only does it look cool on the wall, but you can take a magnet and slide things around, and make it a lot of fun and good looking at the same time. That's all I have for that. So let's look at a couple pictures, Frank, since we're almost out of time here. Are we out of time now? Quarter till? Okay, let's look at some pictures real fast. If you got some serious artists in your church, let them go to town, and that's the kind of thing that one person does all by themselves, and you just let them do their thing. That's a church up in Washington, in Mapton. Oh, you probably recognize that one. Somebody may recognize this one. It's Frank's church, and puppet windows. You got a projector. He's got screens. Several churches use that Kids Town theme or Kids City, and you can use other rooms or other areas, parts of your town. The pizza shop can be something else, and your store, your incentive store can be, at our church we call it a Moolah Mart, because we give Moolah bucks. And so, this is a church in Snoqualmie. Take Two. It's a theater theme. And so you walk in, you've got the round lights, they're like the bathroom lights, but it looks like theater light. And they've got games in this area. But then you popcorn and the concession stand, and then you go around the corner. You got a long room that's your theater, and it's a kids' church room. They put curtains on the wall to give it a theater feel, and they have the big, not a huge big screen, but they do other things with the stage for whatever theme they're working on. They'll put a hut up if it's a jungle thing and different things like that. So that gets swapped out a lot. And somebody in their church put together these kiosks, put their screens in and their games. And they have a climbing wall on this side. It's this 6 foot. It's not climbing up, it's climbing across. So it gets gradually harder as you go across. And that's a really easy one to do if you've got space. They put mats on the floor that go out about 5 feet from the wall. And then you can get those handheld things. IKEA has them. And just space them out on your wall. We didn't have if you've got a play area, if you've got a gym or an outside wall play area, those are easy to tap into the concrete, that kind of thing. So those are some ideas. Let's go to the next one, Frank. There's Frank's Noah's Ark thing. Toddler room. And it opens up and it's a puppet stage. They've got their TV there, big screen TV. Pretty elaborate, pretty cool. This one's New Beginnings in Gresham, and they have an artist belongs to the church, and she went to town. There's Moses. I don't know if you can tell. It's Moses over the door. He's got the water parted, and you're looking inside, and it starts to come down at the beginning of the hallway and turn back into the sea. But you can look inside, and interesting thing they did was they took seashells and hot glued them to the floor along the foot. So you got that sandy colored carpet. It's kind of a natural tweed or whatever, and then you got shells along the way glued there. And they get broken, and they just have to keep replacing them. But it's kind of cool. This is maybe somebody knows the name of the group. It's a Kids Crusade group that travels around. What's that?
Is that Kids Blitz?
Blitz or Kids Blast? Kids something there. I don't remember what it was. But anyway, every year they do a different theme, and they do something like this. And the retired couple that's got a great garage, and put it together, and then usually gets sold to or given to another church to use it as their permanent place. But my inspiration for this. But I went with pretty straight stuff because the person I had to do it was a kitchen bath cabinet maker, and he puts his big pieces of MDF on a flat table, and the table moves, and the thing goes like a big Etch-a-Sketch, X and Y, and it cuts these things out, and the whole thing was cut out in about 30 minutes. And so he gave me all the pieces, and I brought them back here and had some other people help me put it together. So you do with what you can do. So I would have done some more curvy, weird angles, but that's not how his machine was set up to work it. So, but that's all right. I think it turned out okay. So do we have one more slide, Frank? Yes. Here's the church in Horizon, Jenny Smith's church. So she has a couple of rooms that are painted like this with different themes because it's Kids Town. And so they've got the campground, I think they call that one. They've got the harbor. They built a boat. There's their slide play area in the toddler room. This room, they let one of their artists in their church have that, and she went overboard. Took her a long time to do it, but it's just solid paint and hand done. So this one we did in the ghetto in Seattle, and with very, very limited budget. My projection screen, we used the old projector from the upstairs, so it wasn't very bright. So we had to make sure that we could cover the windows. And I dropped it out of the drop ceiling with chains on a piece of wood, flipped it upside down and laid it there, and it hit the wall just right. And we used one of the tablecloths It was kind of a polyester shiny, and I cut it up and folded it and used it. Used some other things we found laying around, and to go with the Powerhouse theme. These are made out of curtains as well, and PVC pipe puppet stage. And then part of my setup, I want to have something like this where you can get things out and you can do your illusions and illustrations and keep things stored close by. And so this is just a metal butcher or metal kitchen with the sliding door things. It's all wire metal stuff. But just put a piece of plywood on it with some counter contact paper. It looked like marble contact paper. Used it there. I used it a couple other places, and some material, some shiny material like that to wrap around it. And there's Buddy Barrow, and he's a little outdated because his BGMC looks like Fresh Prince or something. It's kind of 90s, but and he's got the two buckets. And in the painting of the wall was all we painted all yellow, and yellow was too. So we took some orange that we had and put it on there and peeled it off with some saran wrap and made some stripes and gave it some texture, gave it a little bit of different look than being what it was. And then rope lights. Rope lights work great for everything. And we didn't turn the ones on up here, but we've got some up here and add some interest. This is where we're at now in Hood River. And we have cement. When we got there, it was cement floors and beige wall, and that was it. And we had some MAPS RVers helping us with some of the construction. And I gave them a picture of the wall, door, and puppet stage, and they put that in the corner there. And so that allows us to do the puppet thing, the costume guy, go in and out and be whatever. And my kitchen island thing that rolls around. We still need, the plan is to put a board, a kite board or surfboard up there and use that as the surf shop or whatever, give it a title. This is our screen, PVC pipe and stretchy polyester, and then wrapped it with some sailing nylon rope and pull it tight, and of course I have to have my dry erase board handy. The wood platform brought us up a little bit, and the original plan, I wanted to get behind like I did here, but because the room was small, it's only 25 by I think 29, and I was going to lose a lot of my rows if I did something where I had more room to go behind it. This one, you can put curtains from here to here, you can go from one side to the other. You could go on this side, they'll forget about you, and you can pop out somewhere else, and that was kind of the idea. But working just this side, I put this wall, it's about 3 feet. Frank, you got another slide, I think, that might show that. Well, this is the other side of the room. The windows, the waves. My daughter did most of the painting. I did the blue tape. While I was doing the blue tape, she was coming along behind me painting. And then this false wall, it's only about 2.5 feet from the back wall, so I can go back in here. It's got a black curtain, and kids aren't allowed to go back there because that's where we keep our puppets and stuff. But I can be back here singing with them. We can do the Bible, the verse, and I can disappear, and I puppet pop up, and of course they say, "I think that's Pastor Harvey," and then I'll pop up later, show up behind them again, and they go, "Was that you?" And then we have the French doors too, so we can do a character come out of there too. And then our little check-in table. So we're running about 25 kids right now. We started out with about 6, and so it's growing. And we can seat probably about 40 in there, getting a little snug, and then we'll have to think about moving into the youth room. So, all right. Some other innovative ideas, I guess. Hanging our projector from the ceiling. We've got a tilted ceiling, and it's about 20 feet high. I used the bracket from a satellite dish. It's got adjustments on both ends to do your, just cut the pole in the middle and put PVC pipe, about 8 feet of it hanging there, and works great. It'll wiggle if you jump up there and touch it, but it's
All the industrial looking stuff is, there's no
open
reason
ceiling.
for
No, it's open ceiling. We left it that way.
that. Illusion, yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
What I'm going to do up in this area too is I've got a actual sail for a kite board. It's about 7 feet, 8 feet tall, and it's green and blue. I got blessed, I guess. Got lucky. Found it at a garage or at a secondhand store, and the lady there didn't know how much it was worth, and I don't know either. So I don't know. What do you think? And she said, I don't know, $15. My husband's not here to tell me what the difference is, so I said, I'll do it for $15. So I got that, and then I found the handles that goes on it, and so we'll put it together with some PVC pipe and hang it from the ceiling, and it'll look real, but and that'll fill up that space. What's that? Put Buddy Barrel on it? Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get a board up there, though. The board's going to be heavy, so it's just going to be the sail and the handles on it. And then, do we have another slide, Frank, or is that the last one? Yep. That's the elephant downstairs. Just some simple lines, simple colors, and the best place to find that is in coloring books. And what I did to do it was did it all in Publisher. I just scanned the pictures, or some of them I had to redraw. Like I took a lion and turned him into a tiger, a lioness, turned it into a tiger by putting stripes on it and making the ears a little different. But you'll see that when we walk back through. But just kept the eyes looking the same, kind of the same feel. So I added the beaver and the duck to the collection because people requested those things. So as they were requested, I added some of those, but just kind of keeping the same feel as the original. And then I colored it in paint, of all things, just to see that it fills in and make my adjustments on the screen. Makes it a whole lot easier than trying to draw it all out and color it in and change my mind. So, and then I just use that as instead of using overhead, I use my projector. Took the projector down. We have another one that was on a stand, and I took it in my computer and set it up, and was able to make the adjustments right on the computer to how big I wanted it and stuff like that. So that worked a whole lot better. Left in color. Plus, it's bright. You pass in front of it. It's a whole lot easier than the vibrating overhead projector that you have to. If you've got one, make sure it's solid. Tighten everything up before you start because it'll droop on you and you'll have some long stuff. Okay, I'll let you guys out of here. Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to the 2010 Fusion Podcast. For more information on the Oregon Ministry Network and our events, please visit our website at oregonag.org.